Thanks, Abani. But you know what? It's Rayyaan, it's Jay, it's Shaurya,
They
Sara,
all are our best critics, so
Pratima. Hope you guys are doing great. So, like I promised, there's a surprise panelist. Would you like to meet him? Would you like to meet him? Yeah?
Yes.
Hello.
Surprised?
Are you surprised? I am not. And that's Yoda welcoming our panelists today. And I'm really, really excited, looking forward, and very nervous. I can see some comic t shirts up there, and I can see that, we have a lot to talk about. So let me first ask Rayan. Rayan, what's your favorite comic character?
It's undoubtedly Spondy and Captain Underpants.
Tell us a little about why do you like Sopandi and why do you like Captain Underpants?
Spondy is definitely a situation that I can relate to. I mean, taking things too literally and then falling into trouble. So it's just like how the world would be if everyone took everything so literally. And Captain Underpants, George and Harold are not like me, but it's fun to see what the other side is. It's humorous.
Right. So, Rayan, you also are into memes from what I understand, right? So, we'll come to that, and I'm really excited to talk to you about that. But just before that, Sarah, what's your favorite comics? And can you tell a little about why do you like that comic?
Yes. One of my favorite comics are Asterix. They're my favorite because I really like the funny scenes and the characters, which are very different from each other, and they all play a very important role in it.
Right. So, like you can see, Sarah loves Obelix. Sarah, why do you like Obelix?
Mostly because of his job and his very funny character, because he has a very different personality and he's always, sometimes he's moody, sometimes he's funny. He is very temperament actually.
And if there was like one quality or one thing which you could do like Obelix, what would that be?
I would like to do his job. I would like to work in the mining quarry where I can mine menhirs.
What are menhirs? Like, tell me a little about it. Tell everyone a little about what are menhirs. What does Obelix and company do?
Menhirs are just these big stone obelisks which were used in the ancient Egyptian period. There's no actual use for it. It's never mentioned in the Asterix series. But he mostly just mines it and he keeps selling them.
Right, and that's Obelix and company for you, right?
Yeah.
And Sarah, you mentioned that if there was one thing which you could do like Obelix, what would that be? Would you like to share that with everyone?
I would like to work in his company the most and go on walks in the forest with him. He loves doing that and he keeps hunting a lot of boar.
That's awesome, Sarah. Thanks a lot. And there's one more thing, I want to ask you, which you told me about your favorite subject, right? One of them being history. And
Yes.
you learned history and you remember one of those visuals, right? I have that visual on the screen. Can you walk us through this visual? What is it about?
This is Kaurava and Alexander. So this is basically King Kaurava who was fighting King Alexander, and Alexander was very impressed with Kaurava because of his bravery and the fact that Kaurava did not give up fighting for his country. And Alexander was really impressed. So he called a truce and he left Kaurava's land.
Isn't that awesome? And Sarah, you remember that mainly because of that visual and you read it in a comic. I believe you read it in Amar Chitra Katha and it has like left an indelible mark on you, right? Is that right?
Yes. I was able to answer a lot of questions in my history exam because of that.
Thanks for sharing that. Isn't it beautiful? Now, I want to go to Shaurya. Shaurya, why do you like Captain Underpants?
He's very funny, and George and Harold, they're also very naughty, and well, it's really funny. The pranks, the way Captain Underpants becomes back to Mr. Krupp, and then Mr. Krupp becomes Captain Underpants once more, the fighting.
And would you do something similar, like what George and Harold did to the principal, or would you rather not do that?
I would rather not do that.
Okay, and you spoke about Mahabharat and you follow Mahabharat, and that's one of your favorite stories, right? So tell us a little about that, Shaurya. Who's your favorite character in Mahabharat?
In that, it is Duryodhan,
And why is that?
because he has different sorts of plans, and he does evil stuff, and he's also pretty powerful.
Okay, and if you were to become a character, would you become Duryodhan or someone else?
No, then I would become Bhim.
And why is that?
Because Bhim is more powerful and he has like the might of 1,000 elephants.
Oh, and wait, how do you know that? Because you've been reading these comics on Mahabharat. Is that how you know it?
Yes.
Thanks for sharing that, Shaurya. And I would have some more questions. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Rayyaan, I want to come back to you and I want to ask you about the story. You know, I know you are into meme making, but if you can talk a little about how did you come to it and what is meme fusion and what do you do there and what is this meme all about?
Memes are a great way of grabbing attention. They increase your creativity. What else can I say? They urge you to think in impactful, just one-liners. Like basically, meme fusion is a browser extension that allows you to make these funny images with captions. How I came up with this is actually we used to get mail notifications the minute somebody replies or reacts, and I used to make some fun stuff. So people are reacting a lot, and then my mother is scrolling through my inbox to find some of the other mail, and then when she sees these mails, first she gets frustrated, then it comes again, then she gets even more frustrated. So that's how you get along with it.
And that's why you created this meme, dedicated to your mom, that this is how she reacts when she sees a notification.
Yes, just after class got over, I opened the extension and I made this.
This is really interesting, Rayyaan. And I also know that you are a young filmmaker. I saw your movie. We can't play that movie, but can you talk a little about what interested you to make this documentary, which you made on Dandi March? And I now know a lot about Dandi March because of your movie. So can you talk a little about this?
Actually, this is a school project. There were just 2 days to go, and I had nothing with me. I was basically in a holiday mood. So it is just like this. 2 days left, and I'm like, what should I do? So I open up the MacBook and I'm searching on Google salt march, salt march. All that comes is mostly is Wikipedia, and the teachers says no Wikipedia, and you can't copy paste stuff. So I had to write my own script. But then I stumbled upon this really cool video. And then I first went ahead with that script, and then I saw that I made my edits, and then it turned like what happened was the whole text was mine. Then I compared both the text, and mine was totally different from his.
I think it was fantastic, and I watched the whole movie. So, Rayyaan, I really think that you can create, really great learning material for other kids, right? And they can learn faster because you just helped me learn about Dandi March. I had no clue about what was Dandi March, how was it done. So, thank you for that, and thank you for sharing the movie, right? And I also have Jay with me. Jay,
Yes. Yes. Hello.
Ramu and Shamu, your favorite character, and if so, why?
Yeah. 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 So I like them because when I read them, they were about my age, so it was relatable. And also, I found the illustrations very interesting.
And what do you like about Ramu and Shamu?
They're how simple they are, like how
And
they take everything literally.
okay, and you said you relate to them, right? So what part do you relate to them? Where do you say that okay, I really
Uh, the witty part, one like the witty part, and also the age, like how they're also kids like me when I read it. So
and who do you like more, Ramu or Shamu?
I won't say so because they both have the same characteristics and
You can't choose between the two. Okay. And we also have Pratima. Pratima, how was your exam today? Did it go well?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So Pratima, would you like to talk about your favorite stories and your favorite?
No, look in the screen. Look here, look in the camera. When he talks to you,
Pratima, you there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I like Ganesha's from Amar Chitra Katha. And
Right.
also Sultana Razia's comics. They were also very nice. Because I didn't know about she was the first Mughal woman emperor. So I got to know about her also.
That's interesting, right?
I like
Someone had this interesting trivia about Ashoka. Who was that? Was that Jay? You? Jay, would you
yes, that
tell
would be.
everyone about that trivia about Ashoka?
So basically, Ashoka disappeared from all texts for a very long time, and we knew only little about him until it got figured out that he used to call himself Devanampiya Piyadasi, because in all his scripts he never addressed himself as. I mean, of course, there are many scripts, but in all of them he referred to him as Devanampiya Piyadasi. So they never quite made the connection.
And what does that mean? The name?
Beloved of the gods.
Wow. I mean, I can bet very few people would know that. So Jay, you are a hero for me. You just educated me on this super cool trivia. I'm going to tell a lot of people about it. Pratima, your favorite story is something to do with Ganesha, right? Would you want to talk about that?
I love how he became God elephant headed. This is in the comics, so I love that. Like how his mother helps goes against the gods, all gods. So this is the story I like in that Ganesha story.
Right. And apart from this, who's your favorite character, Pratima?
Yeah, I love Shikari Shambhu from Tinkle Comics. I
And what
love
do you like about him the most?
his luck. He's so lucky. At the end, in the starting, he's not so lucky. He has to go to help others, but at the end,
And you would like to be that lucky as well yourself, right? That's interesting. So tell me one thing, all you guys, like you are so cool. I mean, I've been learning so much from you. Tell me, is it a good idea to learn from comics? Can we have comics as textbooks? What do you think? Yeah, yeah, anyone. Go ahead. Rayan and Jay, go ahead.
So comics are great because they would add a fun element. But why is the fun element important? So because whatever you learn with fun, you will never forget. That's one thing I can say for sure. Like I would remember a comic that I've read 3 years back right now, and I can even remember those short stories that they used to have in my book last year that really helped me in this year's exams. As in, everything that was in the comic stayed in my head, and those were like the basic principles highlighted at the beginning of every chapter. So that really kept it in my head, and yeah, that helped me pass
That's
this.
awesome. Jay, you were also saying something. Yeah.
So I think, like Rayan said, it will add the fun element, and maybe it would not make studying boring. And why would that be important is because even if it's fun, maybe it wouldn't be like, you wouldn't think of it as boring, and it wouldn't stress you out maybe. So then maybe you would perform better in the test than you would with stress.
Right. What do you think, Shaurya? Is comics a good idea inside the classroom?
Yes, because the children would like it, they would study more, they won't have stress, and there's no concern on their minds.
Right. And why do you think there would be no stress? Because the syllabus would be the same, right? So how would the stress disappear?
They're learning in a different sort of a manner, so they feel more comforted, so there won't be that much stress, or otherwise there won't be any stress at all.
Tell me one thing which you've learned or any concept where any of you have learned a concept better because of comics.
Can I?
Yeah, Rayan, go ahead.
The best I can tell you is simple, compound, and complex sentences.
Oh, how's that?
Apostrophes. So at the start of this chapter, last year we had grade 4. It was that there's one, it's like this. So the teacher writes on the board, let's eat grandma, and they're like, everybody's like, what? And then the teacher says that when with your apostrophes you add your meanings, so that it has really taught me that apostrophes add meaning, and they're important when you want to show possession, and when you add the s does not mean you want to do something to that person.
Wow, that's awesome. Sarah, you want to speak first? Jay, I'll come to you.
Yeah, so it helps you understand concepts because, like I said, that Paurva and Alexander one, and all the other ones, like in Asterix, it was about the Gauls when they were invaded by the Romans in the ancient world. It really helped me remember that, so I could answer many questions to it later. So it was really just stuck in my brain because there were so many attractive pictures and just amazing storylines. It was really like I could remember it much easily.
Fantastic. And Jay, you want to add to that? Yeah.
Yeah, so the first example that comes to my mind is of history and being taught well is Amar Chitrakathas, of course, which I've been there for 50 years or even more. And I think back to your point, I think history is one topic that there should be comics in. Be-
Jay, you turned
yeah,
yourself. Yeah, yeah.
because because like it's already worked with ACKs, so they should go ahead and do it.
That's really nice. And Shaurya, Pratima, what do you guys think? Is it a good idea? And do you think comics improve concept understanding? Can you give an example?
I would like to add, if I can.
Yeah, yeah, Rayan, go ahead.
I totally agree that we should have it in history. We could even have it in geography to show how the landforms are formed, what kind of topography is there. It would be lovely. I mean, geography is the subject that I'm really stressed on.
So you think it's a great idea. So you guys have to help Rayan later on. Okay, don't forget. He's just Rayan. I remember you telling me you've got freedom. You want to tell everyone what is that freedom? Today you've got some freedom, right?
Yes, today I've even marked it on my calendar, that today's Independence Day. Actually, my Google chat was filled with messages, Happy Independence Day, and that's actually independence from exams. I'm sure many people have already had Independence Day today.
Yeah, I think Pratima still is not through with her exams. Pratima.
I'm going to celebrate it at 12th of April.
Okay, great, fantastic. So, Pratima, what concept do you remember because you learned it through a comic?
Actually, the concept there helps me in my writing skills during the English period. It really helps. Like once we had story writing, write a story of your own. So I wrote Shikari Shambhu's story there, and it was really helpful for me. So it improves our writing skills.
Nice, really great. And how was your exam today, Pratima? Was it good?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're not stressed now? Okay, great. Shaurya, coming back to you, you talked about how you don't need to remember something if you've learned through the comic. Would you want to tell a little more about that?
Oh well, I have learned the history. I've learned many more things through comics. I've learned like how many people do things. I've learned about life. I've learned about looks. I've learned about like a lot of stuff.
Okay, so next question is a quick one, guys. We'll go, quick one, two, three, like that. Okay, and I'll take names. So tell me, how many hours on a typical basis do you get to read or watch our favorite comic characters or favorite comics? Starting with Ryan first.
This is a really difficult question. It varies. If I have exams, maybe not even once a week. Because I hardly even watch TV. I must be watching like 5 minutes of TV when I need to go down for milk or something.
Quick answer, Ryan. How many
Okay.
hours?
Rarely. But I can read them whenever I want on the Tinkle app or on YouTube. So they're both available.
Okay, Sarah.
Uh, I don't. We don't have a TV. Actually, our TV has not even been working for 9 months, so we'll not watch TV. So from then, I just read whenever I want. Actually, approximately for half an hour per day, probably. Whenever on the Tinkle app or in any Amar Chitrakathas which I want.
Right, and do you have
Exam.
an app also? Do you read comics on your mobile app?
Yeah. Yes, I do a lot.
So how many hours put together, like comic reading or watching or looking at it on the app? Typically non-exam day, not on exam day.
Including classes.
Yeah, yeah. We are
That
watching comics inside the classes already, which is awesome.
that will be about 4 hours because classes are 3 hours.
Oh, okay. So you mean not comics, but you mean overall screen time, right?
Yes.
What my question is, comics or comic characters in a day, typically how many minutes or hours do you
Half
get?
an hour to 40 minutes.
Half an hour to 40 minutes. Got it. Shaurya?
Well, usually I read like around 20 minutes of comics, and then after that, sometimes I read more, sometimes, yeah, I read that much.
Okay. Jay?
About around 1 hour, maybe a little less, maybe
Awesome.
like maybe with a break in between,
Okay.
not once.
Not like in one go, but with breaks 1 hour. Oh, that's cool. And Pratima, how about you?
I read until I finish the whole.
That's awesome. That's a great answer. So tell me one thing, how many of you actually draw characters? Have you ever drawn a comic character? Rayan, you seem to have. Jay has. Yeah, Rayan.
I've actually drawn for 2 books of my own. One is basically of a person like me who loves to eat food. And what basically happens is the new health teacher comes and stops all the junk food in the cafeteria, and then this boy, right, who loves food, he somehow finds a way to remove that teacher from the school forever, and then there's junk food. And another one is of it's of a building. There are 2 children who love playing, and then there is this old man who doesn't like children playing. So he what he does, he somehow gets stuff stolen from people's houses, and he sneaks them into the children's house. And then the children, what they do, they actually expose this guy by a wacky trick, and then they get to play the whole time, and that guy is ashamed.
I
uh,
was about to interrupt you, Rayan, because that was really long. Okay, we have to go faster now, guys. We are getting closer to wrapping up the panel. So, Sarah, you want to add something? Have you drawn any character?
Yes, I've drawn Shikari Shambhu and Supandi from Tinkle.
Wow.
And I've also drawn many Asterix characters, including this one.
Ah, now I like that. Can you get up, Sarah? Oh, your favorite character, Obelix, right?
Yes.
Awesome. That's really cool. Shaurya, have you drawn any of your favorite comic character?
No, actually, I'm not that much into drawing.
But you plan to at some point?
I am not so sure.
Thank you for being honest. Jay, have you?
Yeah, so I love creating characters in like the pastime, like anything, I just create characters, but not really anything serious. Like not like Rayyaan, who's created stories.
Rayyaan is doing some serious stuff. Yeah, yeah. I agree with you, Jay. I get the point. So, Pratima, any character which you've drawn?
I have drawn ones from the Japanese, like Dragon Ball's characters and Pokemon's characters.
Oh, that's so cool. That's really nice. So one last question, guys, right? One or two questions, and then we'll sort of let the next panel come in, and we'll say bye to everyone. But tell me one thing: during this pandemic, a lot of you would have been learning online, right? On the laptop, like how we are talking, right? And you guys are all professionals almost, handling Zoom. I am here struggling, and Yoda is trying to help me, and there you guys are like rocking all the way, right? But tell me one thing, if there were comics or if it could have been taught through the comic way during the pandemic, how would that have been? And how do you visualize what would that have been? Like learning the comic way during the pandemic on the screen. What do you visualize seeing? Like I can already see Rayyaan is already thinking memes. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Sure, go ahead.
So I think it would be really nice, as then some children also have the stress that I don't think we'll learn better in online class. I don't think that we'll be able to pass if it's because it's online. We don't know what's going to happen, so and so. Then it'll definitely take the stress off their minds. The teachers will also have an easy time, as they can just copy paste their pictures of the characters and then write their own stuff.
Awesome. Okay. Who wants to go next? Yeah, Sarah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool because in textbooks there are just mostly words and very less pictures. So if we had comics, there would be like more pictures, and I like pictures way better than words. So it would be really amazing actually if they were like present or the comics and then we can read it, and it would be so cool.
That's interesting. So visual part, right? Like you said. Yeah, Rayan, Jay, whoever picks up first.
Okay, I can so I can say that it would be more easy, and the comics that we would normally distribute in school could that if it was used in learning, that could be just presented, so no hard work, and yeah, it would be very easy for students to relate to it, and it will also save teachers time. But there would be a better suggestion to keep some days to send the comics as resources and explain the text in class.
That's nice. That's really a good idea. Like using comics as a resource material and giving it ahead so that there's some preparation time. Pratima, what do you think? Jay, you want to go first? Yeah, Jay, go ahead.
Okay. So I think, of course, it would be a great idea, and like all the others said, it would be cool. But what I think would be even better is maybe if, like, I think it would be better if comics were given in physical school rather than virtual school, because in virtual it might be blurry or some technical difficulty. Meanwhile, in virtual it might be, physical it might have been better. But I still think it's a cool idea.
Right. Someone said, while we were doing a backstage chat, one of you said that imagine if libraries had more comic books. Who was that? Oh, Rayan, you were. Yeah. So you were saying most of the comics would find dust inside, and what happens in your school library? You can tell us. Okay, we won't tell anyone, but you can tell us.
Everyone has a fight for the comic books. So another reason why comics are so popular is a picture speaks 1,000 words. Reading is wonderful, but pictures are much better.
Tell me the
Um,
library story.
Oh, the library story, I have to tell you. So these students, they barge in. When we come in a line, and then the teacher says, choose your book. And then all the children, whether they're last in the line, they will push and run to the comic section. They'll climb on each other's backs and they will get down those books. But they will not leave the comics.
Awesome. And you said, I remember you said that there should be a policy that in the library, 75% of the books should be comic books because
Yes.
otherwise books won't be read. And if most of them are comic books, then most of those books would be read, right? So I think that's so cool. Prathama, you want to add any point to that? During pandemic, if one could have learned the comic way, what would have that meant to you?
As our subjects are few, so the comics would also be few. So like how I used to, like Tinkle was monthly issue. So I used to finish that in 2 or day or two.
So I used to repeat that book. Same way, children will also repeat that subject book again and again, so they will understand the concepts very clearly. So they will remain like they will get to know about exactly about every page from the textbook. So it would be very easy for understanding them.
Hey, Yoda is getting a little disturbed. Okay, he's saying we are out of time now, and he's doing this again and again. Right now, I am scared. Okay, so we need to stop, guys. One last question, okay, and everyone needs to answer this. Okay, one last question, but we'll go quick. One word answer, Rayyaan. One word answer only. Okay, all right. We'll stick to only one word answer. Comics inside the classroom. Comics for studies. Yes or no?
Yes.
The whole
Definitely
class.
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's time. Yoda is really now, looking very harsh. Like you can see, right? He's not very happy. We'll need to stop now and let the next panel come in. But I'm so thankful. Thank you guys for teaching me so many things. I really enjoyed that. And see you guys later. Bye bye.
So when do you mean later?
Rayyaan, tonight we'll talk. Bye.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you.